Hey ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be a rather short video. I'm just going to be doing a tutorial on how to do a marbled French tip look. So of course, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. We're going to go ahead and hop right into the tutorial. So as you can see, I started by pushing my client's cuticle area back. And now I'm just taking my sanding band, and this is 180 grit. And I'm just making sure to go around the entire cuticle area as well as the entire natural nail. And you want to use this very lightly. You don't want to keep it in one area for too long, and you don't want to apply any pressure because that will cause friction, which will cause heat in your client's nail to burn. So the reason that we do that is to remove all of the natural shine. You want the nail to be completely filed. That way when you go to apply the nail tip and the acrylic, everything adheres how it should. So this client is doing a short square set, so I'm going to go ahead and apply my pre-shaped nail tips. And as you can see, I'm just putting a drop of glue and making sure to line all of the nails up properly. When placing your nail tips, you do not want to use one that's too small, obviously. And you'll know if it's too small. If you are having to apply any pressure when applying the tip, it should just fit naturally from sidewall to sidewall. If you have to choose between smaller or bigger, definitely go for the bigger and just file down the sides to give you that nice fitting tip. So now that we have those applied, we're going to go back in with the same sanding band and just blend where the natural nail and the nail tip meet. And this just helps with the acrylic and the adhesion of it. This also will help your retention rate and help prevent lifting. If you haven't gathered this already, your prep is going to be the very most important part of the entire nail set. This is what will help you with having a high retention rate, which is making sure that your nails last, which means a happy client. So now I'm going in with my Mia Secret dehydrator, and this is just one more kind of step to make sure that the nails are completely dehydrated. As I mentioned earlier with the sanding band, this is important because it gets rid of those natural oils, and natural oils, we all know, will prevent the acrylic from adhering as well and as long as it typically should. So now we're going in with my Young Nails Protein Bond, and this is just to help the acrylic bond to the nails. I do only apply, well, I only show myself applying one coat, but I always apply two on both hands, and that is totally optional. You don't have to do two. I have just found that I literally can count on one hand, not even that, how many times someone has had a nail pop off or break. It probably happens once every 5-6 months, like literally, guys. So I feel like it helps me. It's optional, the one is enough, but I always just go for the two coats. So now I'm going in and I'm just applying the acrylic. Since this is a short set, I do only use about 2 beads on each nail. And that is just a reference. If you feel like you want to use more or use less, definitely do whatever works for you. Of course, if you are applying the acrylic and feel like you want to add more, definitely go for it. I say it's better to work with less and add if you need to than it is to take off, like work with too much and then have to file it all off in the end, because now you're wasting time and you wasted product. But as you can see, with her length, 2 beads was just enough. I am making sure to wipe around the cuticle areas to keep everything nice and clean. Remember, you don't want any flooding. You do not want any acrylic to be on the skin because that will cause lifting for sure. And I'm also, as you can see, making sure to consistently pat up against the side walls of the nail as well as the free edge. And this is just to help keep that shape. You want to make sure that you are working as neat and clean as possible because that will save you so much time in the long run. And as you can see, when I'm placing my beads, I am placing my first bead right where the natural nail and the nail tip meet, and I'm just lightly feathering it down. And I say lightly feathering because you do not want to pull, you don't want to drag, you don't want to press the acrylic down. You literally just want to feather it down. And I know that sounds, it's easier said than done, honestly, because when I first started doing nails, that was one of the hardest things that, you know, it was so hard for me to understand that I used to waste so much product. But you'll eventually get it after after practice, and I think it just kind of becomes like muscle memory. So just definitely work on it. If you feel like you're struggling with it, just constantly try to remind yourself, light hand, lightly feather, lightly, you know, just constant little reminders as you're doing your acrylic application. And I think that eventually you will get it, because that's what You know, that's what I had to do. I couldn't get it for the life of me, but we're here now, so that's all that matters. And so, yeah, as you can see, after I apply that first bead, I'm going back in with my cuticle bead. And I did want to mention though, as you can see with my beads, I'm not working with a bead that is too dry, and I'm not working with a runny bead. I try to make sure that my beads are at a really good consistency. So if you feel like your beads are too runny, then obviously you're using too much monomer, and if they're too dry, you're not using enough. So definitely try to pay attention to that if that's something that you're struggling with. But I want to make sure that I point out and talk about how when I'm applying the cuticle bead, as you can see, I'm placing it right above where I left off with the other bead. And I say that because, again, you don't want any acrylic to be in the cuticle area or on the skin, because that will cause lifting, and that is just overall uncomfortable. It's such a hard thing or tedious thing to have to try to fix once you have that acrylic on your client's skin. So it's better to just make sure that you are working, like I said, neatly. Obviously stuff happens. Nobody's acrylic application is completely flawless, no matter how it might look on a tutorial or a video. We all have our issues that a lot of the times it's just not shown. So it's okay. Don't fret. Don't worry if you are struggling with the flooding, because you do always have the safety of, as you can see on every nail, I'm making sure to just go back in and constantly wipe around the cuticle area, wipe around my client's skin, and pat the acrylic back into place. That way, once I move on to my next nail, I am leaving off the previous nail, nice and clean and well structured. I guess that's a good way to put it. And also, the reason I say not to place, if you're wondering why I say not to place the cuticle bead right on the cuticle, is because when you place it right above, and this, mind you, this is different, this can change, but since we're doing a short set, anyways, this rule pretty much applies. But since the nails are so short and the bead, even with you placing it right above the first bead, as you feather it down, it will slightly push up right into where you need it to go. That way you can prevent lifting, but you can also have full coverage, and you will have, a nice foundation for each of your nails. So as you can see, it literally covered everything, and now I'm just feathering it down. And a major tip is, if you feel like you do want to push your bead up a little bit more, but you don't want to get it too far, or on the skin, whatever the case may be, a good reminder is the tip of your brush is for like manipulation and placing and pushing, while the body of your brush is for like the building. So that's where you're going to feather it down, and that's more so for, I guess, I'm trying to think of a good, I'm really good at doing the like examples, or I'm blanking on the word, but basically you get what I'm trying to say. When you want to get into a tight crease, when you want to like manipulate, when you want to move, you definitely use the tip of your brush. And when you want to for majority of the application, you'll use the body of your brush. So just kind of keep that in mind. It does help along the way. So now we're going in with the shaping, and as you can see, we use pre-shaped square tips, so we don't have much shaping to do, especially if you keep your application nice and neat. Another reason why I kept touching on that, because you'll see that when you do keep everything neat and clean, or as neat and clean as you can anyways, it will save you so much time. So since I did that, I don't really have much filing to do here. I'm just going to crisp up the shape. If you watch my tutorials before, I'm so adamant about getting that nice crisp shape. I don't care if it's coffin, stiletto, almond, it has to be nice and clean, because regardless of the design, if your shape is good, then it really does affect the set. You can have a really nice design, but if the shape is off, the whole set is off. So just definitely keep that in mind. But again, since these are pre-shaped, I don't have much to do, and since I kept it clean, we don't have too much to do. So to clean that shape up, I am just making sure to file the sides of the nails at a 90-degree angle, and then I'm also making sure to file the free edge straight up and down at a 90-degree angle. You do want to make sure that you're keeping your client's skin pulled back and that you are keeping the file pressed straight up against the nail. Another thing that people often tend to forget, especially if you're a beginner, is to make sure that you're filing the undersides of the nail. So you can see that when I start off filing each and every nail, I start with the file kind of slanted so I can get underneath the sides of the nails, and that's just to get any acrylic that I may have pressed up under there, any rigidness. I just want it to be nice and straight and clean, because that definitely will make a difference. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but you'll see like someone with a really nice, the top of their nails are really nice, so the design is really nice, but then the underneath, they got a dent here and they got some acrylic missing here and they got a lump of acrylic there. So you do just want to make sure that you are focusing on the undersides as well. You want everything to be nice and clean and sleek. So just definitely keep that in mind. And then, like I said, make sure these files are pretty sharp, so make sure that you're pulling your client's skin back. I use an 80 grit file. And you can find these on Amazon. So I think the ones that I get probably come in a package of like, I want to say 50, and I think it's like $30. I could be wrong, but I love them. Definitely recommend the 80 grits. I feel like that's how I get my shape as sharp as I do. And then so now I just take the other side of that file and I just run it across the entire nail except for near the cuticle. I do not get the cuticle area when I do this step, and it doesn't matter the length or the shape or the set. I never do the cuticle area, just more so the middle and the free edge of the nail. And I do get it from, side to side, and this just has really, I feel like it really helps with the after effect of the nail. So like they just look so much more clean. They're so much more smooth. I just love everything else about it. I didn't used to do this, and I would just use my drill bit to, file the entire nail as well as seal the cuticle. But I started to do this, and I just feel like it's hard for me to explain why I like the outcome, but I think that you should try it if you want to and see if you like the outcome. I definitely recommend it. And then since I did that, now that I'm using my drill bit, I do not file the entire nail. I just more so file the cuticle area, of course, because here we're sealing it. That's really important. That will help prevent lifting. You want to make sure that the cuticle area looks nice and flush. That is the whole goal here. And if you do decide to still go, do the step that I just showed you with the file and still file the entire nail with your drill bit in this step, it's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It really just depends on if I need to. But overall, you just want to make sure that you're remembering that the whole point of the steps here, if your acrylic application was done properly, the whole point of this step here is to, one, seal the cuticle area. Like I said, that will prevent lifting and help your nails last. But also to just smooth out the entire nail, make sure everything is nice and even. As you can see, I'm literally able to fly through this step because I was pretty neat and clean during my acrylic application. So everything is exactly how it should be. And another thing that I want to touch on is, as you can see, I'm taking the drill bit and I am going underneath the ridge of the free edge just to make sure that it's nice and even under there, because as you've seen, I do press up against that part of the nail when I'm doing my acrylic application. So now I'm just taking my buffer, and this is probably the easiest step out of every acrylic set besides the top coat, and I'm just literally buffing the nail from top to bottom, cuticle area included, sidewall to sidewall. You want to make sure that you're getting the whole nail buffed, and this is just important because it'll get anything that may have gotten nicked, or just anything that may be left on the nail, any scratches, anything from that drill bit, because I do use a ceramic drill bit, so the buffing definitely helps. And then I don't show this step, but I do apply cuticle oil, and I have my clients wash their hands with soap. And then she came back, obviously, and I do take some acetone and run it over every nail before I start the design. So now that I've done that, I am doing, like I stated, a marble French tip. So what really has helped me do this design, it's really simple. Over off camera, you don't see it obviously, but I have, we're doing like a green, white, marble-ish type of vibe. So I have all the greens and the white that we're going to use. And so what I wanted to do to achieve her look, it was more so like light green and white with touches of the dark green. So I found it way easier to go ahead and just outline my French tip with the dark green. And then as you can see, I'm just literally randomly, there's no set step or, pick this color, no order of the colors. I'm literally just taking a dotting tool and I'm picking a random color, and as you can see, I'm just going in and I'm filling in that French tip and swirling the colors around. It's so simple, it's so easy, and I literally have done this design 3 times. The first time it did take me quite a while because I tried to make the French tip with already kind of doing the marble, and it was just way too much. I would have to keep going in and cleaning up the French tip. It just took so long. So when I did it for the second time, I'm like, let me try to take one of the colors and outline the French tip and then just fill it in with the marbled, go in with the polish, place it where I want, mix it, and boom. And literally, you guys, I will never go back. I love the way that this turned out, and she did too, and it's just so much easier, I feel like, when you already have your French tip outlined. So I definitely recommend it, and it's super super easy. And then afterwards, I do make sure, because if you use, try not to use too much polish, because then it might run off on the sides, and when you go to wipe that off, it might mess up your design. But no worries, because it's marble, so you can just swirl it back up. But my whole point in saying that is just make sure that before you have your client cure, that you do wipe the side, like the undersides of the nails, because this is gel polish, it is thick, sometimes it does run, so you want to make sure that you're not taking away from your shape. And you just make sure, that you are wiping the undersides of the nails to get all of that excess polish off. And if you feel like there's excess on the free edge as well, you can just press your finger right up in the crease to get that extra off. So other than that, that is really the tutorial, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and finish all of her nails with this design, and then once that cures for 60 seconds, I am going to go in and top coat it, and then we will be finished. So you will see the result at the end. I don't want to talk your heads off, because this is pretty simple, and I feel like this is one of the designs where no matter how much I repeat the steps over and over and over, you kind of would just learn to get it when more so with watching, because it's just that simple of a design. So I'm going to leave the rest of the tutorial in of me doing the rest of the nails. I'm going to apply the top coat, and then I will show you the finished result, and that is how you do a marbled French tip design. So I want to thank you all. If you're a returner, thanks for coming back, and if you're new here, welcome. Make sure to subscribe. I upload tutorials all the time, and I am going to start doing more face videos for like 2024. That's my resolution, to like show you guys more of like my daily life and life as a nail tech, and just show me more, not just the nails. So make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe, and hit the bell so you can know when I post. Thanks for supporting, thanks for watching if you made it this far, and I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
if I'm that ain't the way to go. I gotta give her game proper. Spit it so she get it. There she is, I gotta stop her. Or should I talk about a smile? Or what about a style? I'm out of time. She's out the door, I gotta go for mine. Or should I talk about a smile? Or what about a style? I'm out of time. She's out the door, I gotta go for mine. At the door, say yeah.